Hi again, everybody. This video is sponsored by contribution from Magic, and here's his story. Hey, Ollie, I'd like to be called Magic as my online alias, as I've been watching some of your videos and found them comforting. One of Be Good 4000's video was the real wake-up call for me, and I felt I should share my story with fellow narc abuse victims. I'm 28 years old. Life for me was pretty sweet when I was really young. I was very smart and surrounded by loving good examples, but I always came off as a little strange in my own world, though I was never formally diagnosed with any mental problems. The doctor told me a few months ago I'm suffering from a low mood, but not low enough for depression. My brother has been diagnosed with depression. I didn't seem to be too aware of what was going on around me and would believe anything adults would tell me when I was a kid. But the healthy, happy world I was in quickly changed was eight when I was 8 years old. My uncle was killed in a car accident. He was only 24, and it seems like his death was a curse on me. My narc father would swear loudly whenever something went wrong, and I quickly picked up on this being the right thing to do when people they're mad. So I began swearing in the schoolyard, losing friends and getting into heaps of trouble, to the point I was sent to the principal's office twice. Humiliated in class by my lard-ass teacher at one point, came home crying for being singled out in class for doing what I assumed was right. I had no friends in school at all and spent the times out in the yard by myself, making my own fun instead of playing with the other kids. I also developed an addiction to video games at this age. My mother was a good person, artistic, loving, comforting, but she was abused by my grandmother and my father too. A therapist once told her she married her mother. My father was an alcoholic. I noticed most abusers are, and beat her up one night because she refused to go to the bar with them because they couldn't find me a babysitter. I was one at the time. Threatening to kill her too. She was beaten again when I was 4 right in front of me. I don't recall the scene myself, but was told it happened in the kitchen. I'm the eldest of 3 and a stillborn. After my middle brother was born, a doctor warned my mother getting pregnant a 4th time could be fatal. My father went right ahead and raped her anyway. Probably wanted a girl he could abuse later. My youngest brother had to be removed from her by having her stomach cut open. In 2000, I was 12. Myself, my brothers, and my father were on our way back from a friend's birthday party. He had been drinking. He was mad because I refused to leave the bouncy castle for 5 minutes after he came to take us home, asking me why I didn't do as he asked when we got to the top of the bridge. I ignored his question and he responds with, "Will you answer me?" I ignored that too. He just flips his shit, picks me up, bashes my head against the bridge, and threatens to throw me over it. I begged him not to, and he calmed down, and we walked home. I was crying hysterically the whole journey. We neared the house. He asked twice, "You promise you won't tell Mom?" Every bone in my body told me, "Don't let this motherfucker get away with what he just did to you." We got inside the house, and my mother asked me why I was crying, and I told her what happened. My father said I spoiled that child today. Obviously not giving a shit, my mother responded with, "Right, I'm calling the cops." He leaves the house. Of course, that's what cowards do. And I was sent to the hospital with my mom in my grandfather's car, almost passing out when I got there. I didn't suffer a head injury or a concussion, however. My mother began to file for divorce, but my narc father refused to sign the papers. My father lost his job as a postman by crashing a post van 25 years into the job. When a pension application came here and refused to own up to pay the damages to keep his job. He fucked off to live in another place, leaving the 4 of us, mother and 3 children, to fend for ourselves. My mom was a very big woman and had an eating addiction. I passed school, but I didn't do great. I felt it's because of the shit my father put us through. My addiction and my lack of friends and social support rather than my intellectual ability. An IQ test I took recently told me I have a 140 IQ. I was regarded as a total outcast in school and was often annoyed and picked on. Nothing really serious, however, but it left me feeling like I didn't belong on this planet. When he found a new girlfriend online, he moved in with her and her 12-year-old daughter. A few months later, I heard a story that he punched his girlfriend's daughter in the face twice and fucked off out of the house over something she was calling him. He's a fucking pain in the ass to live with and obviously wanted this to happen. My mother passed away when I was 19 from a heart attack, 4 days after she had a stroke. I blame the stress my father put her under. I had foolishly bought some lies my father used to manipulate me into moving in with him a month before this happened. The two of us moved back to the house with my two brothers. About a month afterwards, he was acting completely unreasonable and was deemed mentally unfit to take care of his two teenage sons by social services. My brother moved in with my aunt, who took great care of them and would have taken care of me if I was young enough. I moved out of the house a number of times, but always ended up being back here from the narc damage I've taken on and my poor, underdeveloped social skills. Couldn't find a job. It was a recession at the time. In 2013, my 12-year-old cat, Timmy, was acting strange. He woke me up. I dismissed it since I only had been asleep for 5 hours. I got up a few minutes later and looked up his symptoms online. One article said he required immediate vet attention. I went to make breakfast and decided to take him to the vet afterwards. Timmy began screaming. I thought he was having a heart attack. My father got up from his bedroom and asked, "Was that the cat?" Playing Mr. Innocent. I rushed to the vet with my cat in the carrier. It was too late when I got there. I burst into tears as the result. The vet told me, no, not a heart attack. Timmy was poisoned. Pointing at the green foam coming out of his mouth. I didn't think it was my father who probably did it at the time, but he said something about him being allergic to rice and might have eaten it in the dog's bowl. Total covering up bullshit. Cats just don't start eating out of dogs' bowls. That's not what they fucking do. I went to college soon after Timmy's passing, but I fell behind because of a 2-month delayed payment and couldn't afford the bus. At this time, my father began acting nosy on purpose at night, bringing over drunk friends to do the same, costing me sleep, and causing me to freak out one time because I had to be up early and his friend wouldn't shut the fuck up after being asked numerous times. I decided to move closer to college in December, but had to delay it until January because his dog fell sick with a serious back infection. Rather than taking her up to the vet himself, he fucked off up to the Capitol for the weekend to meet some woman. Even though Sandy, his dog, wasn't my responsibility, I couldn't bear to see an animal suffering. He left her for dead and didn't give a shit, so I took her to the vet myself. It cost me 80 pounds, and she needed 2 injections. A fur cut had to a fur cone and had to wear a cone for 2 weeks. She was going to be okay though. The day I left for the city in January, I posted a Facebook status asking my family to wish me luck with moving to college. And they did, along with my prick of a father. Sees the happy vibes I'm getting and decides to ruin it with, "You still owe me 40 pounds. Keep in mind he owed me 80 for the vet bill. I said something like, "I don't owe you shit." I came back to my house a few days later to pick up more of my stuff and locked my bedroom door. And my locked bedroom door had been kicked in by him. I failed college because I was too far behind, and despite moving away from him, I was stuck living with an alcoholic who didn't give a shit either and would party with his friends from 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. almost nightly, and I missed classes from lack of sleep. I still got a certificate from drawing and communications, though. I explained things weren't going as planned to my narc father, and he agreed to take me back. since rent was soaring and I was no longer a student and legally couldn't live there anymore. I also had no friends in the city. I pretty much gave up on myself from that point, figuring I'd just end up at home no matter what. No matter what I set out to do, and the video game addiction got worse. I had 2,000 plus hours in Left 4 Dead 2 alone and owned the game since September 2014. This year I've been learning a lot about abuse. It all started with Matthew Santaro's story, and I quickly learned more about narcissism and abuse. In February, a kitten followed my brother home one day and we decided to take care of her. I put up an ad saying she was found on the internet, but no one claimed her after a month. She was a little ginger tabby, 10 months old, a lot like Timmy, and I named her after Lara Croft because she seemed really confident and adventurous. This kitten to me was like having a girlfriend. Yeah, it sounds weird, but my confidence suddenly began soaring, and we watched videos together, played, and she would even sleep underneath the blanket with me. She was obsessed with me, and vice versa. An argument took place between me and my father when I gently pushed him away from me while trying to microwave food, and he flipped his shit over this. Not really a big deal. I didn't shove him or tell him to fuck off or anything, and he began his usual smear campaigning shit in front of his only friend. I pretty much laughed it off and went to my brother's room to watch him game. My father then tried to get into my bedroom where my computer and kitten were. So I got up, grabbed him by the chest and told him, "Get the fuck away from there." He leaves the house with his friend, a few minutes later threatening to call the cops, to which I responded with, "Go on, so no one gives a shit about you." His friends went no contact with him from that night on. The cops didn't come for me and I didn't do anything illegal. And he likely has a criminal record himself. It felt really good standing up to that cunt. The following morning, he was standing in my brother's bedroom doorway, loudly saying at 8 a.m. that he would get his lawyer after me. And I shouted, "Shut up, he doesn't fucking care about you." And my brother doesn't, because my youngest brother beat the shit out of him one time for trash talking about our dead mother in the middle, and my middle brother gave him no sympathy when he was seeking some. I decided a few days later it was time to spay Lara since I didn't want to take care of kittens on top of her. I took her to the vet to have that done. It cost me 140 pounds with some other little treatments they gave her. I didn't mind the additional cost. My father found out about this and learned when her checkup date was due. On March 12th, 2 days before her checkup, I went to sleep at 8 p.m. My bedroom door was locked. Lara was in my room and my window was open. It's only big enough for her to get in and out. At 12 a.m., I woke up to a text from my brother, who was out drinking, saying a friend was coming over to borrow his PS4. Lara had gone out. My brother's friends called over. The front door was unlocked and my father wasn't in the house. He always locks the door before going to bed. My brothers left the house with the stuff. I went back to sleep. About 4:30 a.m., I woke up and played some games for a while. Lara hadn't returned. My father was back. I could hear him snoring. About 9 a.m., I got up to make some breakfast. My father chose the moment I left my bedroom door open to ask me, "How's the cat?" I immediately felt this dark, cold feeling over me, and something inside me said, "What the fuck did you do to her?" She never returned, and he never spoke about her again. She was nowhere to be seen on the lost and found ads. I suspected he killed her while I was sleeping and while my brother was out. No witnesses. I never found her body or her collar after searching some of the nearby ditches. A few months later, I confronted him about her, saying something like, "Still no sign of the cat." And he said, "I think you should ask. I think," and he said, "I think I saw her. You should ask whomever random person has her." Not buying his bullshit, I responded with, "No, she was fucking murdered. I should tell the cops." He said in a frightened tone of voice, "She's living somewhere else." 10 minutes later, he got up during a football match. He never leaves while the game is on. Took a brown bag from his room and fled the house with a worried look on his face. The cunt had been caught. I told the cops what happened, and there wasn't anything they could do about it. Animal abuse laws aren't severe enough in this country. I felt heartbroken, stressed, and just downright insane that this cunt out to totally ruin my life had gotten away with murdering two innocent animals. I hit a point where my sanity levels were at an all-time low, and something in me died one night when I lay cringing on my bed, listening to some scary video game music. I began praying a lot. A lot, feeling I was trapped with them, lost, and would never succeed, or worse, put into an early grave from the stress he's putting me under. My doctor referred me to a medical center. I will be getting therapy in about 8 months. I quit playing video games 16 days ago. Quit caffeine and have been a lot more productive and a bit more outgoing. Have a course coming up that specializes in helping social outcasts, and hit the gym 3 to 4 times a week. Also joined a social group and a support group. Despite all these changes, I'm still terrified my father will destroy all these too, and I wish he would just hurry up, die, get out of my life, and let all of us live in peace while he burns in hell. As much as I would love to murder him, and only him, I don't want to deal with something like that in my life, on my conscience, and I considered getting my story out publicly on the internet and dox the motherfucker and let every animal lover out there know this soulless piece of shit. Murdered a 10-month-old kitten because she was making his son happy. I'll try to keep a low profile for now, get as much support and money as I can, and avoid confronting him until I can go. That's really all you can do. You should have followed him. Should have grabbed him right there and been like, "Where is my fucking cat?" You don't leave during soccer matches. You don't go. Where are you going? Where is my cat? He might have given it to somebody. He might not have killed that one. He says it's living with someone else. It's possible your cat's still alive and he gave it to someone else and he didn't kill it. But who knows? You have one choice, and one choice only, is to get out. You know, his sabotage only works because he's been doing it on you your whole life. He's really not all that. He's real sadistic and evil, but he's also a giant fucking coward. A giant fucking coward. He's drunk all the time. If he's doing drugs, look, there's a million options for you. Constantly out doing shit. I'm sure it's constantly drunk driving. You got options. You got options. You know, I wish I could say more about this but you said everything yourself. You're with a sadistic narcissist who's just done nothing but abuse his whole life. Your goal needs to be to find a job, make money, and I don't know if you're working or not right now. Save your money. Don't let him know you're saving money, and then get out without him knowing. Don't talk about it. Don't threaten about it. Don't do anything about it. And I would stop talking to him altogether. Don't even acknowledge him. Because he's only going to try to draw you in and try to be more and more and more sadistic. So, thank you for your contribution. Thank you for your story. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to discuss or a narcissist you'd like to expose, you know what to do with the PayPal and my email links in the description box. And remember, when you do send me your story, please put at the top of the email whether it's with or without contribution and what name you'd like to go by. This is Ollie Matthews. Thanks for watching. See you all again soon. Bye.